Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Duluth, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, Jacksonville, Florida, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.
A Jewish family, right? Parents of a guy who's a hostage. His name is Hirsch. What is his name? And they gave them time to speak. And here, I'll play a little bit of it for you. Here's them being introduced, and watch how people go nuts. Hirsch Goldberg is his name. Watch how the crowd gets emotional. Watch this. Look at that. Look at that. So not only did they not allow a Palestinian person to speak at the convention, but they have Jewish parents of a hostage, and they are going mental over them. You see this, right? Like, those people aren't upset that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are funding the war in Palestine, this ethnic cleansing. I mean, how many pictures do you need? I go on Twitter. I don't go on Facebook or Instagram. I just go on Twitter, and you can't avoid the pictures of babies that have been killed. Babies with their arms blown off, their head, part of their head blown off. Babies. I saw a video yesterday of a guy. He looked like he was about 19 years old, and he's standing there waiting for a ride with his dead 7-year-old sister in his arms. She's dead, and he's waiting for a ride to come pick him up so he could go bury her. And hey, I feel for these parents. Their kid is a victim also. I don't know what he's doing at a music festival on the border of a concentration camp, because that's what Gaza is. And they're not anyway. So that really smacks of, these people don't give a shit about Palestinians. The people inside this hall, these are the delegates. So these are the party insiders. They don't give a shit. They're going to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They don't care how many people they get slaughtered. They don't care about the people getting slaughtered in Ukraine. They don't care about anything. Remember, Chicago, biggest Palestinian population in the country. And that's where they're doing this. Hey, it's not that I don't feel for these parents, but this seems weird.
At this moment, 109 treasured human beings are being held hostage by Hamas in Gaza.
Again, they didn't bring a Palestinian on to give a speech. And here, let's go to I'm going to fast forward because I don't want to watch this.
It's a political convention.
So here's that kid's father. So now he's going to talk.
This is a political convention. But needing our only son and all of the cherished hostages home is not a political issue.
It's 1,000% political issue. What are you talking about? In the words of Fred Hampton, politics is war without violence. War is politics with violence. That's all this is politics. This is 100,000% politics. So of course it's politics. You're at a political convention giving a speech about it.
It is a humanitarian issue. The families of the American 8 hostages meet every few weeks in Washington. We're heartened that both Democratic and Republican leaders demonstrate their bipartisan support for our hostages being released. We've met with President Biden and Vice President Harris
numerous times. And do you tell them that you're going to campaign against them unless they end this war, unless they put an arms embargo on Israel, which would end the war like that and get the hostages released like that? Do you do that? What do you say to them? What do you say? Keep bombing. Well, I would love to know what they say. They don't say what they say to them.
Numerous times at the White House. They're both working tirelessly for a hostage and ceasefire deal that will bring.
So, by working for a ceasefire deal, do you mean by continuing to commit billions and billions of dollars in bombs and weapons to kill people? You mean that's how they do it? Because that's all they would have to do is stop that. So that's how they're working tirelessly, by continuing to make sure this war continues, by making certain there isn't a ceasefire, because that's what they're doing.
Our precious children, mothers, fathers, spouses, grandparents, and grandchildren home, and will stop the despair in Gaza. We are all deeply grateful to them. We're also profoundly thankful to you, the millions of people in the United States and all over the world who have been sending love, support, and strength to the hostage families. You've kept us breathing in a world without air. There is a surplus of agony on all sides of the tragic conflict in the Middle East.
So it's funny. So he says this. There is a surplus of agony on all sides. I don't think in this whole speech he says the word Palestinian. But I think he does say Gaza. Let's listen. So this part of the speech is the best part of the speech. There is a surplus of agony on all sides. Actually, there's a surplus on one side. The agony is way, way bigger on one side.
In a competition of pain, there are no winners.
So you're trying to equate a genocide and an ethnic cleansing and the slaughter of children, because that's what this is, with 100 people being kidnapped or held hostage. You know how many people are held hostage by the Israeli government? You know how many people? 9,623 are incarcerated by Israel. And that includes a lot of children. Between 500 and 700 Palestinian children each year are incarcerated or detained by the Israeli military court system. Some of them as young as 12 years old. And the most common charge is throwing rocks. So they then incarcerate children. 4,781 Palestinians are in administration detention for alleged security reasons. Many of them children. Since 1967, between 750,000 and 1 million Palestinians have been arrested by Israel. But nobody ever screams about getting them released. Okay, here we go.
In our Jewish tradition, we say, Kol Adam Olam Umlo'o. Every person is an entire universe. We must save all these universes.
And I hate right now what he's doing is he is conflating Zionism with being Jewish, Judaism. And you know who likes to do that? Zionists and also anti-Semites. Isn't that interesting? They both do the same thing. But all the Jews I know are not Zionists, or most of the Jews I know are not. In fact, every time I run into a Hasidic person, they're the people who have nothing to do with Zionism. Zionism hijacked Judaism. And so what he's doing there is continuing that. That's what it looks like to me.
In an inflamed Middle East, we know the one thing that can most immediately release pressure and bring calm to the entire region
would be an arms embargo by the United States. That's what would do it. Well, let's see what he says.
A deal that brings this diverse group of 109 hostages home and ends the suffering of the innocent civilians in Gaza.
So he said Gaza. He didn't say Palestinians. He didn't say children. He didn't say babies. He didn't say grandmas like they did for the hostages. But guess how you get there? Guess how you get that deal? You have to stop giving Benjamin Netanyahu and his maniacal Likud party arms to go slaughter people. That's how you get there. They never mention that.
The time is now.
Okay. Okay, so it sounds like he's calling for a ceasefire, but it doesn't sound like he's threatening anybody, meaning he's not threatening Joe Biden or Kamala Harris to, hey, guess what? I'm going to campaign against you unless you put an arms embargo. He didn't even mention it. So at least I'll give him tip of the hat that he did mention the suffering of the people in Gaza. So at least he did that. He didn't also say there should be a Palestinian up here with me. We're all victims in this. Anyway, so do you want to hear what she has to say? It's that
Hirsch.
So she just says that she's upset about her son. I get it. If it was my son, I'd be out of my mind. But if it was, if it was my dog, I'd be out of my mind. So I mean, I can't imagine what they're going through, right? And it's got to be horrible. And my heart goes out to them. But here is the Democratic Party pandering to Israel, pandering to AIPAC, and they won't let a Palestinian give a speech. They won't let a Palestinian speak.
Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Duluth, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, Jacksonville, Florida, Tempe, Arizona, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.